Hey there, this is Dr. Pam Perry. So today we're going to talk about purposeful marketing or purpose driven marketing. What does that mean? Purpose driven marketing, purpose driven PR, purpose driven branding. So we're going to bring up Cherise McAdoo, who has been in the magazine, Speakers Magazine. If you're reading the April issue, you'll see her right on the homepage. But we're going to be talking about what does that really mean when someone says they're following their purpose, and what does purpose driven really mean? So we're going to get into all that with Cherise McAdoo, who's been working with companies such as LinkedIn and Google. And we're going to get into all the things about how to get out there, get known, but with a purpose-driven mission. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast. Join Pam Perry, veteran PR strategist, Emmy award-winning producer and publisher of Speakers Magazine, who will show you how to crack the code in getting out there to get known. Each week, she either interviews her media friends, PR colleagues, or she just goes solo, offering you strategies on publicity, publishing, and platform building. So listen up to hear how to get booked on media places and on superstar stages. Now, here's your host, Pam Perry.
Hey there. So full transparency, I know this young lady's mom. Okay, I do. I know this young lady's mom. So shout out to Narika Greer. We went to the Mighty Cast Tech together. And I want to say, before I bring you up, Cherise, a little bit about your mom and how I see you guys so much similar. So your mom is advertising, project management, all that kind of thing. But it's no surprise, right? What you're doing, because she was the one that organized our entire senior trip. And we went out the country. We went to Toronto and she organized it all. And let me tell you, it was like, and ever since then, Rika has always been in charge of our reunions. We're talking about a class of 1,000 people, right? Just keep speaking on if my Wi-Fi is acting weird. But tell people a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It is such an honor and a privilege to be on today, to be on this amazing podcast. As Miss Pam said, Miss Pam has known my mom for a very long time, and my mother has had nothing but incredible things to say about her, even as I was growing up. Her daughter and I are the same age, and so it is an honor and a privilege. So for those who don't know, my name is Cherise McAdoo. I am the founder and CEO of Resourceful Reese. Resourceful Reese is a creative marketing agency that focuses in on social impact agencies that are or businesses, nonprofits, faith-driven organizations that are looking to really make an impact in the branding and event space. So I started my career right after graduating from the illustrious Hampton University in 2018 at LinkedIn, moved to Chicago, absolutely loved it. And then LinkedIn said, hey, we want to bring you back home to Detroit, which I was super excited about. Spent another year at LinkedIn, and then I really wanted to delve, similar to my mother, into the world of digital advertising. And so I ended up being hired at Google, which was an awesome game changer for my career because I was working with, small businesses and nonprofits in Canada. And so it was amazing. It was almost like I was being put through an MBA accelerator, if you will. And so immediately after my year was up, I told myself I want to do this for a year, and then I want to pivot back to LinkedIn because I thought there was more that I could do there. Especially I led our Black inclusion group. I was very active in our women's group. And so I knew that there was a lot more for me to do. So after a year, I went back to LinkedIn in our advertising space, working with names like Uber, General Electric. And so it was just like a crash course again into big business. And then after that, March of 2024, it was time for me. God kept calling me and sharing that it was time for me to transition into full-time entrepreneurship. I have been doing Resourceful Reese since 2017. Again, I was at Hampton. And so I was very scared, very nervous, but it has been a little over a year and God has not failed me yet. So super excited to be here. Super excited to talk more about purpose-driven branding and all the things I've learned thus far.
And Hampton is a HBCU. Shout out to Hampton. And that is, I want to say, those young ladies or those people that come out of Hampton, they don't be playing. Okay, I don't know what they teach you all in Hampton, but that first year, I had a niece, her name was Bailey, and Bailey Granberry. The very first year she was there, she sent me. She says, "I'm looking for an internship. I'm just freshman year." I was like, "Already?" She says, "Yeah, they sit down with us and they map out our 4 years of what we're to do."
Mhm.
And
They sure do.
that's a shout out to them as well. So
Mhm.
the thing about getting into Google and LinkedIn, those are big platform and brands. And digital marketing is really very competitive now. It's so much. So people can do marketing for cars, hamburgers, donuts, but you chose to do marketing and branding for in digital marketing for what type of companies and why?
So I chose to do digital marketing and branding for nonprofits and social impact focused companies. And social impact being mission, like kind of driven companies, maybe giving back to the community in a certain way, even if they are still a for profit entity. I have clients that are IT firms. I have clients that are influencers that technically are still for profit, but their goal is really to give back to the community to make an impact. And so the reason for that was I really enjoyed, as I said, working for brands like Uber, like General Electric, and I really enjoyed the work that I did, even the companies that I was able to build and contribute to in Canada. But for me, I felt like the nonprofit and the faith based, that social impact um, niche, they were underserved. And not only were they underserved, oftentimes when they were served, they were overcharged. They didn't have the team to support what they were trying to do, and oftentimes they were going to several different agencies to get what they needed. And so I decided that I wanted to become, as much as I could, a one-stop shop for marketing and communications. So whether they needed a monthly email newsletter, they needed help with their social media, they needed marketing strategy, they needed consulting, for even other partners that they had, that is what I wanted to become. And so far, it's been such a joy because they are such amazing entities. They're doing such great work and they're so passionate. And so
Mhm.
for me, not only is it me serving them, but it's really just me having the opportunity to contribute to that passion and contribute and help, whether it's pulling up chairs at an event and helping them that way. Even though I'm just doing marketing, it has been just such a fulfilling journey.
And that's really the main thing too, that when you're going to do something and you're going to be all in, you're going to be doing the market research, you're going to be dealing with their customers, you're going to be dealing with the client. You want to go into an area or a field that they're passionate about and they're making a difference, meaning they're helping people. And then you also want to be sure that you're helping the people that are helping people. And so that's really seems like that's part of your mission or drive. I always say that people, are always trying to figure out their passion or their purpose, and it's really like what lights you up, what makes you excited about getting out of the bed in the morning. And it's like a calling, because one of the things that you could do anything. I mean, you could be a dental hygienist, you could work in hospitality, but then it's something where God says, okay, this is your calling. I want you to serve these people. And so by serving the nonprofits, they're and like you said, they are underserved because, obviously a lot of people want to go after the larger brands, but then they think about, oh, okay, well, I don't want to work with a nonprofit. They don't have a budget. But listen, companies like Red Cross and the Salvation Army, those are brands and they have budgets. Actually, one of the Salvation Army, their agency is Franco. And so they have a PR agency. They have someone that writes their direct mail uh, mailings every single month. They have someone that does their newsletter, does their videos, it does their social. Someone does their website. And so it can be someone that's just like, oh, this is just a job, or they can actually tap somebody on the shoulder, like Resourceful Reese .com, to really just say, okay, she understands our mission. She knows that we're a faith-based organization. She's the one that we want to work with. And even too, it doesn't have to be that they're in human services. It can be someone who is very impactful in terms of maybe helping people register to vote. So something like that, that really is impacting the community at large. So tell me a little bit about an event that you did not too long ago with Allison Bond Jackets for Jobs, which is a nonprofit, and the kind of work that you did with that
Oh my goodness.
and who
First
you
of
work
all,
with.
huge shout out to Jackets for Jobs. They do such amazing work. 2 months ago now, because we're in the month of May, they celebrated their 25th anniversary. And so Miss Pam called me and said, "Hey, I'm not going to be in town. I know that you do event coverage. I know you've worked with celebrities before. I know you know the world of interviewing. So I really want you to come. Number one, there was a concert with Mary J. Blige who hit the stage. The boots, the outfits. I want to be like Mary J. when I grow up." Um,
Me
we
too.
had a phenomenal conference, and Allison Vaughn, who is the founder and CEO of Jackets for Jobs, brought in Cynthia Bailey as the keynote speaker. And so we had an awesome opportunity to go to the concert, get some great footage of her, but just really spend time. And Cynthia Bailey, just as a side note, is such a wonderful woman, so kind.
Mhm.
She took pictures with everybody, and I mean everybody at the concert who wanted to take a photo or a video with her, everybody at the event, the luncheon that was the next day. And so a lot of times, even when we're talking about branding and that personality, you have to have the brand. And sometimes what people don't realize is it's not just your company that people are interfacing with, people are interfacing with you. And so now I have a very, very positive view of Cynthia Bailey as a brand because she was so kind, so welcoming. But back to the event. So did that. I think the concert was on a Wednesday. Phenomenal. We had a great time. We had police escorts. It was just it was such a fun experience. And then the next day was the 25th anniversary luncheon, and that was phenomenal. There was not a dry eye in the room, and I mean that. There were so many people who gave their testimony, people who we know, people who sit in powerful positions right within the city of Detroit, within the state, who were just having some challenges as they were going through their matriculation in their career and needed someone to step in, not only to help guide them from an interview process, but they needed the clothing. And so that's what Jackets for Jobs did. And again, there was not a dry eye in the room.
Mm.
There, my mascara was running, but it was such a beautiful time of just celebrating all that Allison and her team have done. I got the chance to interview her, and the chance to just spend some time again with Cynthia Bailey, with some of the amazing folks that she's helped. And so that was an incredible event. And again, when you're working with nonprofits, you have to be open to whatever it is that they need, whether they need somebody to go get the speaker, they need somebody to help move the floor arrangements. You have to be there. You're not just a marketing consultant. You are there as a supporter and as a helper. And for anyone who's looking to go into that kind of role, they're looking to work with nonprofits, that's something to be aware of. They are phenomenal. And sometimes you do have to lend a helping hand, but the event, absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And then the footage that you put together was really good, the reels and that sort of thing, because that's a lot of work. People don't realize it's like content marketing, digital marketing. It's like, okay, well, yeah, we'll just have someone young do that. But it's strategy that is involved, first of all, as well as the technical skills. And then you have to be on.
Yes.
When I say you have to be on during the whole event, you can't just enjoy the concert. You're on. You're looking for shots. You're looking for content. You're looking for sound bites. And then you take all of the footage, which may be hours, and you have to distill it down to a couple of reels, that are a couple of minutes long. So that takes a talent. Then find the music and all of those things, and then write the captions.
The caption, the keywords, like there's so much that goes into it. Having the right equipment, making sure that you have all your equipment. We had tried to make sure that you can get
the microphone, the microphone you had,
microphones, the tripods.
yes.
I have never probably tried to sneak a big tripod into a concert before, but that's exactly what I did. Because again, you have to have the right equipment. You want to make sure you have the right lighting. You want to make sure that you are interacting and it feels personable and it feels enjoyable, that they're smiling, that you are researching ahead of time so that you know the right questions to ask.
That's
and
true.
You know the things that are going to excite them, the things that they want to talk about, things that maybe they haven't revealed yet. And so you want to make sure that whenever you're doing this is not just a, hey, I caught a quick video. This is a full role that you need to be prepared and ready for before you go.
What was the epiphany that you had when you decided to do Resourceful Reese? So you said that, you've been working, you were doing these different types of things, and then all of a sudden you had an epiphany. It's like, I want to, in 2017, I want to start my own company. Everybody has their own thing that, it's like, that was the moment, or that was, I really heard that so clear, because you have to, because it can be tough. And then some days it's like, you know what, I'm gonna go back and get a job. So you have to know that the calling is for sure. So what was
Ooh.
it? What was the epiphany moment of, or client, or the that
Mhm.
something that you contributed to that you said, you know, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, oh man. So Resourceful Reese actually started, and I apologize, my light is going out. I'm not sure. Maybe it needs to be charged. This is what I'm talking about when we talk about equipment. But um but so
That
I
looks
started
good. That looks good.
this
Mhm.
is literally bless his heart. But um Resourceful Reese was started in 2017 while I was at Hampton University. And so the summer before, I was actually working on Wall Street for Wells Fargo. And so I was doing investment banking and sales and trading. My major was in marketing. So how I got to Wall Street doing finance, still to this day, I do not know, but it was the best experience for me because it taught me what I did not want to do, but it gave me a lot of great connections. It taught me a lot about just presentations and branding and risk management, just so many things. And so I'm really grateful for that opportunity. While I would sit there, I knew that I wanted to do something in marketing, but I wasn't sure what. Before that, Resourceful Reese was, it was unofficial, but I was just doing resumes and headshots and interview preparation for my fellow classmates. And then word started spreading, and my professor said, "Hey, I want you to help me." Then as that grew, my professor's friends would say, "Hey, I want you to build me a website. I never built a website before. Hey, I want you to help me with social media." So Resourceful Reese has evolved. But the epiphany moment for me and why I started, my mom was going through her second bout with breast cancer. And so I really wanted, I knew that she was very kind, and she said, "Hey, I don't want you to work throughout school. I want you to focus. You can do internships, but I don't want you to have a full-time job while you're there." And so I knew that just the strain of medical bills and such, which we know can really, really hurt you, as well as just layoffs during that season. And so I said, "Mom, I'm going to have a business, and whatever I make, that's going to be, how I take care of myself, how I pay for groceries and things like that." And so that's really how Resourceful Reese started. I always knew I wanted a business, but I didn't know what. And even as I mentioned, Resourceful Reese has transitioned from being more of a talent branding business.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
didn't know the words. I didn't call it talent branding then. I didn't know what that was, but that's really what it was, into
Mhm.
truly branding, marketing, communications. But that really was the epiphany moment for me, is that I wanted to help my mom. I wanted to put into practice the things that I was learning in school. And I
Mhm.
also wanted to help. So I knew that so many of my classmates wanted these great jobs, these great internships, but felt unprepared or felt nervous. And so my way of giving back and being a helping hand to them was sharing some of the things that I had learned. My first internship was at 14. So I had to sharing a lot of the things that I learned over the years, and making sure that whenever they got in front of a camera or got into an interview process, they felt confident, they felt calm, and they really were showcasing their best selves.
Mhm. That is good. Everybody has that epiphany moment. When I started my company many years ago, 24, 25 years ago now, uh, it was Ministry Marketing Solutions, and I wanted to work with, at that time, a lot of churches didn't do have marketing departments, or they did, and it was like really small. And so my career at that point had been about 10, 15 years, really been in advertising and marketing. And I wanted to use all those skills to help those type of people, whether it was Word of Faith, Greater Grace, Straight Gate. Uh, and then over time, I was really helping a lot of them with their books. So I worked with Dr. Miles Monroe, Bishop T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar. And I really felt at that time, that was early 2000. So ministry marketing, putting those two words together was like, what is that? So it's kind of like purpose driven. So it was really like one of those things where I felt called to really help those type of clients. And like you said, you have such a joy of working with them because it's something that you were built for. You're built to really work with those type of companies because you have joy with that. Now, the other thing is like at a certain point in time, over time you may transition, because there will be the same thing. It's like, okay, I don't want to work with these people anymore. And then that's where you hear a lot of people say there's a pivot. So around 2010, it wasn't just with ministries anymore. It was working with more people who were writing books that were inspirational. So they weren't necessarily Christian preachers, but then they became inspirational speakers or motivational speakers. And that's where Speakers Magazine really grew out of, because anyone who has a message that is uplifting and they want to share, they want to really expound and impact communities, that those are the people that I want to promote and really get a lot of press for and help them get out there and get known. That was where it was. But the epiphany was when I had my daughter, Aubrey, you know Aubrey. And at that point in time, I didn't want to go into an office. I wanted to do a home-based business. Now we're talking about, well, you know, the year 1996. So it wasn't a lot of people that were doing working from home. It was like, oh, poor baby, she working from home. She ain't got no job. And it was just like, no, I have a computer. I can do work from home. This is I do PR. And so yeah, so that's where it really started because I wanted to have the flexibility to be working with her. And that's how ministry marketing started and working with first client was Word of Faith. That's where I was going. And then Greater Grace and all the other churches and some smaller churches too in between. But it was doing things like setting up their websites, helping them. I did a ghost wrote a book uh, for Bishop Ellis. I did columns for Bishop Merritt for the Michigan Chronicle. You know, I would take his sermons and then I would take the notes and then I would write the article and put them in Michigan Chronicle. So those were kind of like some of the things in terms of marketing. And then obviously once the internet kind of hit like 2005 and 10, it really changed the whole game. And so at this point, I'm teaching them more about digital marketing. That don't be afraid of Facebook. You know, during the pandemic, everybody was on Facebook, streaming their churches. But early on, it was a lot of the people that I was dealing with, the nonprofits, they didn't have access to that type of knowledge. And so I wanted to just share. And actually, my first book that I actually did was a tips booklet. It was 115 PR tips on how to brand your ministry.
Wow.
And it was a thing that I was going to all the churches and I was doing all this consulting and I would sit down with them and we would go over the same things. And I said, you know what, I'm going to put this in a book. And I took a legal pad and I wrote out all the tips that they need to do to brand their ministry, from even something as simple as what you put up at the front door. Okay. What the ushers or what the greeters are wearing, the colors in the bathroom, make sure that they're matching with everything. I mean, it was just like how to brand your ministry so that people want to come to it. And so anyway, and then I would just give those out. And that's how a lot of that just kind of like grew at that point. And I said, you got to have an email list and you've got to have it segmented. And, so at this point I'm teaching, but it's fun.
Absolutely.
Because at this point, it's like, they're in the business to helping people. And I have a joy of helping people who help people.
Yeah.
That's it. You have a joy of helping people that help people. So that's one of the main things too.
I love the 115 tips. Now I need to download it.
I didn't know it was going to be 115. I just started writing with a legal pad and I was like, okay, Absolutely. These are the things. And I broke it down in, communications, technology, different things, and even customer service, because customer service is part of your brand. You can have a great brand, but if the first person on the phone or the first person you meet at the door is mean as a devil, that's not a good brand for your ministry. Okay. So, so you got to do a little bit of that kind of thing too. So that was kind of like the fun thing. But I really, now that you're doing a lot of that, are you doing like workshops now? Because you're in Speakers Magazine, you're on the homepage for this month. So do you find yourself doing like workshops or seminars or webinars? Webinars are the same thing. So it's just a seminar on online.
Yeah, so Resourceful Reese does do quarterly webinars. And so we've been doing that because one of the things I realized, as Miss Pam shared, when you're in the business of helping people that help people, sometimes the people that help people don't have the budget, right? And so they are trying to find the budget to help you and to work with you, but sometimes they don't have it. And so my goal was never to shut anyone out if they couldn't work with me on a retainer basis. And so I started doing webinars where we would have a topic, whether it was what is value positioning, how do you make sure that you're positioning yourself well on social media versus on digital channels versus in person? What are some of the ways that you can segment your email list? And so we started these workshops. And so our goal is to have some in-person workshops as well. So we're in talks with a few organizations to make sure that we continue to expand the reach, because the goal is not just to keep it to clients who know about Resourceful Reese already, right? My goal is to expand, whether that's to the greater Detroit area or to Michigan at large. And so I've really, really enjoyed that, because many of the clients that I've met at different phases, different networking events, are now coming to the webinars, even if they're not in Michigan. So it's been a great touch point for that. And then we do have speaking opportunities. A lot of folks ask me to host their events. They feel like I do, and I do. I have a big personality, so I have a great time hosting. But hosting their events, whether it be a women's conference, a workshop, a networking event, whatever it may be. And then the last piece is that speaking, because I also do have a podcast called God Bless My Brand. And so faith is a really, really big part of what I do. So many ask me to be a keynote speaker or to be a panelist, talking about faith in business, or just talking about navigating your faith journey, talking about how to make sure that you are pouring into yourself, pouring into your spirit as you're going out and doing things in the marketplace. So it's been a pleasure speaking. It's been something I've done since I was probably 16, crazy enough. And so at that time, I didn't think of myself as a speaker. I just thought I was someone good on the mic. And so that's why I love Speakers Magazine, because it's highlighting people and it's giving people an opportunity to see what they do as professional speaking, as they see themselves as public speakers, even if they don't identify themselves as that yet. It's something that you've been just highlighting and making sure people know. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm gonna actually share a little bit of the magazine. That was like taking the internet down, but I'm gonna share it right now. So I think it should be good. So this is the issue. This is Allison. We were talking about, you had covered that event with her and Cynthia Bailey, and then there you are, Cherise McAdoo, where purpose meets power in branding. So we click that open, and then we read a little bit. I love those pictures too, by the way. Where purpose meets branding, Cherise McAdoo is a dynamic force in the world of brand strategy, known for merging faith, purpose, and power to help individuals and organizations elevate their impact. So you can read all about that on that particular page. You go to speakersmagazine.com, you can read about it. And then also her website obviously is there. Follow her Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and X. Are you on Blue Sky?
I'm not on Blue Sky yet.
Okay, so Blue Sky is like the alternative to X. It's people who are feeling a little bit of a certain way about X. And then obviously Cherise Nicole McAdoo on Facebook as well. So yeah, so we want to make sure that you all go there and get that. And you'll be getting the actual magazine soon. It is actually at the printer, so you'll actually get that as well. So you'll be getting that. And that's kind of cool. But I just appreciate you and tree. Okay, my internet is acting crazy. So with that, I just want to say thank you so much. And Resourceful Reese. .com. I want people to go there to book you to speak, to consult with you, to really do a discovery call to see how you can help them. And if people are really ready, set, go, wanting to go speak, go to readysetgospeak.com as well, because that's one of our programs that we have that, and I'm working on redoing my homepage too, because people say, oh, it's so much stuff. And this is what happens after you've been in business for so long. You can overwhelm people, because it's like, okay, let me just not put everything on the homepage. So I'm kind of reorganizing that a bit so that people can actually kind of like consume it a little bit more soothingness, instead of all the programs all at one time. So thank you so much for joining Get Out There, Get Known, being in the magazine, being part of that digital team with Allison Bond and Cynthia Bailey. And more to come. We'll be working on a lot of other projects too, but resourcefulreese.com is blowing up, and I just so appreciate you. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I appreciate you. For those who don't know, Ms. Pam has been not only a supporter of Resourceful Reese, but a mentor and a guiding light for me over the years. So I thank you for having me. I thank you for having me in the magazine, having me on today. And I'm super, super excited about where God continues to take your brand. It's been 25 years. The homepage is full because your career has been full. I'm just praying that God continues to bless you in every endeavor, continues to bring more clients, more speakers. Ready, set, go speak. Please make sure that you go. There are so many phenomenal opportunities that Miss Pam has. And so I thank you. And I'm super excited about what God has for both of us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So make sure that you, God Bless My Brand, her podcast as well. And make sure you listen to Get Out There, Get Known. Subscribe to both. Subscribe and share. And if you want a pictures to be on it, you can do that too. So we'll be listening. So with that, I just want to say thank you so much. And I'm Pam Perry, and I'm out.
You've been listening to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast, brought to you by PamPerryPR.com. where you'll get insider tips on how to build your platform, pitch the media, and promote yourself with confidence. Head over to PamPerryPR.com and get the exclusive video training on the 7 must-have marketing materials you need before you pitch in order to be considered in media places or superstar stages. PamPerryPR.com, where you help you shine like a superstar.